Hi, I'm Kevin. I am with the Rook and Raven. And my lovely friend Michelle asked me if I would be interested in teaching about crystals. And that's simply because I've been messing with it pretty much like my whole life. And she's always been excited to buy stuff from me. And like, because all the stuff that she gets from me, it has like really awesome energy, according to her, which I really appreciate. And she usually comes to me if she has a question about one. Um, so my knowledge of crystals and how to use them, how to care for them, etc., is pretty vast, I guess, compared to other people. So, uh, yeah, I agreed to do this uh, course. Um, and today, what I'm going to be doing is a beginner course. And this is going to cover like some basics. I'm going to be covering 3 C's, which are care, cleansing, and charging. I'm going to clear up some stuff about those 3 things. I'm also going to do uses, and I came up with an acronym for that. It's EMPS. That's emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual, because pretty much any crystal or stone or mineral out there has a use either for all 4 of those or at least one. Um, a couple other things that I wanted to touch on for the beginner course was identification and types. It's probably like one of the most common things that I ask, like, "Hey, Kevin, what is this?" And people will send me a picture, and I'm like, "Oh, that's red jasper, or that's this, that, the other." It's like, "Oh, wow, okay, thanks." Uh, and then also size. Does size matter? Quick answer is yes, but I'll get into that in more depth here shortly. And wearing crystals, because all of us love wearing different kinds of crystals on different parts of our body. So, they make us look pretty, they make us feel good, and usually there's a reason for that. But I'm going to go into some things about wearing them that people probably need to know that they don't know. So, that's what I'm going to be doing today. And if you do happen to attend this course and you find it helpful and informative and useful, then this is open donation. The link to donate is scrolling across the bottom of the screen, and you just send that along if you feel like it. If not, it's fine. I still love you. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to just kind of jump into it, and we're going to start with the 3 C's. I just said that those are care, cleansing, and charging. Now, when it comes to caring for your crystals, a lot of people um, have their own ways of doing things. They'll, you know, put them like wrap them in silk or velvet or something, or they'll display them a certain way. Uh, or some people just kind of like fucking throw them in the corner of the house and there you go. Um, Everybody kind of treats theirs differently, but if you're going to care for your crystals, there are a couple of things to know about it. First off, you need to know if your crystal or mineral is water soluble. I know a lot of people like to use like moon water. If you don't know what moon water is, that's like uh, cleansed water that has been charged in a full moon, hence moon water. So people like to wash their crystals with that. Um, I get a lot of questions about salt water or salt baths, if that's okay for certain crystals. Um, and it's a yes and a no. It depends upon what it is. It also depends upon whether it's raw. What I mean by raw is it's like not polished, it's not shaped in any way. It's just like it came out of the earth. Maybe like cleaned off a little bit, but hasn't been worked at all. And then there's like polished stuff, and that has a different um, a different way of being cleansed or cared for. So, like a polished crystal would be something like this. Um, I highly doubt that this big smoky quartz. Um, one, I doubt it was ever actually this dark. This has been irradiated with light and heat to darken it up. And I don't believe that these are completely natural faces on it. Um, I'll say like this is probably a nice looking crystal, and it was just kind of cleaned up a little bit. It had a little finishing touch to make it look even prettier. And it's pretty awesome. But that would be considered a polished crystal. And then this one, very similar to clear quartz, but this one has not been given any kind of TLC. It's not given any like finishing touches. This one came out of the ground like this. The only part that has been touched by machines is the bottom part, where it was probably cut out of a cluster, it feels like. Because there was another crystal, it feels like, across it right here, judging by like the formation on it. So that would be considered a raw crystal. And of course, this obviously piece of an amethyst geode, this is considered a raw or rough crystal or mineral. I don't want to drop that. That thing's like 10 pounds. And this, of course, a cabochon of labradorite that is definitely polished. That has been cut and shaped into that particular piece. So caring for all of these would require different things. You can clean all of them, all of those at least, in plain water, if you just want to like get the dirt and stuff off of them. But if you happen to use like natural water, so if it's like a creek, a river, a stream, rainwater even, and also well water, as long as it's not like has chemicals in it or anything, if it's like just straight out of the ground, that works as well. That would be considered natural water. You can use natural water to clean pretty much anything other than water soluble stuff. And that's simply because it is natural. It doesn't have any contaminants in it that will fuck it up, like man-made contaminants. So like no harmful chemicals or anything. So yeah, natural water can be used to cleanse pretty much anything except for water soluble stuff. Now, what do I mean by water soluble? That means like if you leave the crystal or mineral in water for too long, it starts to separate and even dissolve in some cases. So obviously you can't put like a Himalayan salt lamp or whatever. You can't put like one of those in water. It will turn the water to salt water. But this is true selenite, not to be confused like the satin spar selenite that we all know and love. This is true selenite. I believe this is actually out of Utah. As you can see, it's clear. There's like, you can see me through it. This is true selenite, and it is water soluble because this is actually formed in thin layers. If I want to be a jerk, I can snap one off, but I'm not going to because my children have already dropped this and broken it once. But it's formed in very thin layers, and if I were to leave this in water, those layers would separate, and over time, this lovely piece would dissolve into nothingness. Simply because selenite is a form of gypsum, which is definitely soluble in water. So when you're caring for your crystals, it's good to make sure that you're doing it correctly. So for like polished stuff, I would suggest just natural water. That's like the best way to kind of like care for them, because if they happen to get like dirty or something, just some plain natural water and like maybe like a microfiber cloth so you don't scratch it if it is a polished crystal. But don't use any kind of abrasives. Don't use like Comet or anything like that. Don't use salt, because that would be considered an abrasive because it is little tiny crystals. Definitely don't ever put polished stuff in a salt bath. A salt bath is like just dumping a crystal in a big batch of salt. It will scratch the finish and dull it over time. You might be okay doing it like once or twice, but you can hear me, but you can't see me. That's going to be a problem. I think our power just went out. All right, hang on one second. Yeah, I'm trying to look at. Hang on. I need to message my brother real quick. Hang on. That was weird. Yep. Battery exhausted. Okay. 1 second, be right back. I'm going to see if I can swap this around.
Technical difficulties will be back.
Yeah, technical difficulties. 1 moment. Tech support is on the scene. I'm like, Jeff. So the cord, probably?
Yeah.
Okay. You see, whenever the other one was plugged in, the orange light still came on. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna. Okay, see, now it says it's charging. Before that other cord, the battery part was just orange. So the cord probably went bad. How? I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Okay. And we're back. Sorry about that. Thankfully, I have good tech support. So thanks, Jeff. All right. So where was I? Salt baths. Okay. So you can do a salt bath for certain crystals, like rough crystals, like stuff that doesn't have like a polish to it. That'll be fine. But always just look it up and see if it's safe. But usually the best option is going to be natural water, except for like the water soluble stuff. In that case, if you're trying to clean it, then I would actually just use like a damp cloth to wipe it down. That'd be like the best option for those ones. So just do it sparingly. Okay, so moving forward to cleansing. What do I mean by cleansing? That is different than cleaning. Cleaning, that's like the care part. That's just, making them stay pretty. Cleansing is removing like negative energies. So I'll just use an example of my own. I ordered this really gorgeous labradorite palm stone from overseas, and I don't know what happened from the time it was, taken from, the earth until it got to me. But over time, whether through shipping or whatever, it just picked up some really nasty energy. And as soon as I took it out of the box, I dropped it. Thankfully, I dropped it onto the carpet, so it didn't get hurt. But as soon as I touched it, I was like, ugh. It was a really horrid feeling for me. So I actually had to put like gloves on, and I tried cleansing it with all the ways that I know how to do it, using sunlight, moonlight, using moon water. I used other crystals to try and cleanse the negative energy from it. Nothing was working. And finally, I was like, you know what? Okay, so I'll just have to put it back in the earth. So I buried it overnight. It not like deep. I just dug a shallow hole, put it in there, covered it up. I didn't like pack it down, just in there loosely. Went out there the next day, uncovered it, touched it, still kind of felt icky. cover it back up and let it there for like a few more days. I think it was in the ground for almost a week until like the earth just took all the negative energies from it, which would be similar to us doing grounding. We just kind of push all that negative energy through our feet into the ground, and the earth does what it does. And I took it out, and it felt completely fine. It actually felt very happy to be cleansed of all that. So those are the ways that you can cleanse crystals. Now I'm going to go over those because I know I kind of ran over it. But if it's a rough crystal, burying it in the earth is great because you can just go back out there at any time, put your hand on it, see if it feels okay. And if it feels okay, you can take it out. If it doesn't, leave it there until it does. That's like probably the longest path to cleansing, depending on like how heavy the energy is on crystals. Because as we use them for various things, they can have negative energy attached to them. And, they just kind of build it up because they're kind of like sponges to an extent. And, every now and then, just like us, they need to be cleansed. So grounding a crystal is one of the best ways to do it. As I said, using sunlight is an option. Now, sunlight's only good for light colored crystals. So if you continuously put like this chunk of amethyst out in the sunlight, over time it's going to fade. It's just like the radiation from the sun. It kind of destroys the color. It'll just become regular quartz instead of purple quartz. And so I only suggest that usually like clear crystals or light colored stuff like howlite or whatever. Anything that's light in color already, where it won't get damaged from like the radiation of the sun. You get sun bleached, it won't hurt it. So I only suggest sunlight for that. Moonlight, you have to be careful with. I know like a lot of people do like charging and cleansing with full moons, but you really, 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 really need to pay attention to the astrological aspects of a full moon. So look it up, see what sign, what house, if it's conjunct or opposing of anything that's going to fuck up the energy of it. Because that messed up energy will go into the crystal and you'll think, oh, hey, I did a good thing. I charged my crystals. And then your crystals are fucking mad at you and not working and not doing shit. So it's always a good idea to make sure to check the astrological aspects of any kind of heavenly body that you're going to be using to cleanse or charge your crystals. So one of the other things, you can do moon water, but again, when you charge that moon water, make sure that it's under a good moon. Then, of course, natural water, like I said, it's good for like cleaning them as well as cleansing them because it can just wash away all the negative energies. So yeah, those are usually the ways to do it. Salt can be one, but I don't usually recommend it. That's something that's more or less like last resort kind of. The other C that I was talking about with the 3 C's is charging. Now, I already touched on making sure you check the astrological aspects of a moon if you're going to be charging your crystals under a full moon. Before I get into that too far, I did mention there are other crystals that can cleanse other crystals. Carnelian is one, and satin spar selenite or true selenite. They cleanse, but they do not charge. You need to understand the difference there. Cleansing, it removes like the negative energies. Charging, it kind of raises the vibration of it. So it's two different things. Now there is a lovely material called black kyanite that cleanses and charges almost instantaneously. So keep that in mind to know the difference between cleanse and charge. Two different things. And selenite does not do both. It only cleanses. Okay. Now for charging, like I said, black kyanite cleanses and charges. You can use full moonlight. You can use sunlight. But oddly enough, one of the best ways to charge your crystals is you, provided that all your stuff is good, like all your chakras are clear and in alignment and all that fun stuff. As long as your energy is good, you can actually charge your crystals yourself. You more or less act as like a conduit for universal energy. And you would use your you're going to use your dominant hand to charge. So if you're right-handed, you'd use your right hand to charge a crystal. If you're left-handed, you're going to use your left hand. Universe does recognize the difference for you. So whatever your dominant hand is, you can actually channel universal energy into your crystals to charge them up. Now, charging them up, I kind of equate it to like a battery. Like crystals kind of have like a battery level. So the more you use them, the lower their battery level gets, the lower their energy level gets. And sometimes you just need to be refreshed, recharged. And that's all that is. So those are the 3 C's: care, cleansing, and charging. Okay. Now, to go into the next thing is uses. I came up with like a little acronym for that. It's EMPS. It's emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual. Pretty much every crystal, stone, or mineral on this planet has a use for either like all 4 or 1 or 2 or 3, some combination. It's kind of rare that you only find a crystal or stone that has like one use. They usually have multiple ones, so you just kind of like focus on which one you want to use it for, and there you go. So emotional uses are, that's like a really broad one, because sometimes people have a difficulty like separating between emotional and mental. Those are 2 different things. Now there are things obviously like bridge both. So like anxiety can be both an emotional state as well as a mental state. So I understand that there are some exceptions, but for the most part, emotions are going to be like one area and mental is going to be another. So emotional usage for crystals, you just have to communicate with your crystal. Like if you are unsure of the uses of it, Google. It's really easy. You just type in like amethyst metaphysical uses, or metaphysical properties, and there's like a whole litany of stuff out there that will tell you the different uses of it. Some of them, it really feels like it's really generic, and I'm pretty certain most of you are going to be smart enough that when you read it, you'll be like, that doesn't really feel like it makes sense. So you'd be like, okay, well, that was bullshit. And then you'll read others, so like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see how that particular material would help with that. So yeah, there will be different uses for them. Like, for example, amethyst, like this lovely purple quartz. Now this is a raw piece. It's not polished. It's not shaped or anything. And we've had this for quite a while, actually. But amethyst, like emotionally, it is actually rather calming. Like it can calm your emotional state. So it just brings over like this very soothing energy that helps you emotionally center yourself. So it can be really helpful in like stressful environments. It can help you kind of keep an even keel, so to speak. So it would be really helpful for something like that. Now, mental aspects of crystals, those are obviously going to be different than emotional. Like, I mean, I myself have like a difficult time sometimes, differentiating between emotional and mental. But your emotional state obviously can be affected by your mental state, and your mental state can be affected by your emotional state. But from a mental aspect only, each crystal is going to have a different effect. So it can be like, how long would it say? It depends upon how heavily, like how heavy the negative energy is on it. Like for my labradorite palm stone, it took almost a week of being buried in the earth to cleanse it completely. Sometimes it can be really quick. Like with black kyanite, it usually happens almost instantaneously. I don't know what the fuck it is about black kyanite. I have not worked with it enough or communicated with it enough to understand the ins and outs of it yet. I probably need to put that on my to-do list. But black kyanite, it's almost instantaneous. Like I've never had a piece of black kyanite take more than like 30 seconds to cleanse another crystal completely. So it really, like I said, it all depends. It's kind of like how much dirt is on it, with the dirt being negative energy. It's like a pair of like super muddy boots is going to take a while to get them clean. But if it's like, oh, hey, they're just walking through the sand, just wipe your feet on a doormat and hey, they're good to go. So yeah, it can vary. So if it's a piece that you feel is like really, really heavily, soaked up with negative energy, then I would bury it for however long you need to take, and whenever it's done, it's done. So crystals affecting mental state. What I mean by that is like a crystal can, yeah, black kyanite's actually like pretty cheap. It grows kind of like a fan. It starts like at a single point, and then it just kind of like fans out. So you see like black kyanite fans. Those are usually the best to use. I don't know if it like the point like takes the negative energy, like sucks it out and shoots it out into the universe or what, but it's pretty awesome. Carnelian is good. It actually helps. If you keep like a piece of carnelian, if you have like a bag of tumbles and you keep a piece of like carnelian in there, it'll keep them cleansed all the time. So carnelian is really good for that. And yes, true selenite, that's good for cleansing. It just takes a little bit longer. Like true selenite, usually you have to leave it on there like overnight. So crystals with your mental state, what I mean by that is they'll like help adjust how you view reality, not like, in a hallucinogenic way, but it can take you from having a very victimized mentality and changing your perspective just a bit to where it's like you don't have that kind of mentality so much anymore. It's like you're able to see how things affect not only you, but how they affect others. It can take you from like a very negative mental state into a positive one to where it's like you end up focusing less on the negative events and more on the positive. So yeah, like that's how they can affect your mental state. And different ones obviously are going to have different effects on you. Like hematite. Hematite, I really enjoy. Yeah, no problem. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to teach. So hematite, from like a mental aspect, it helps keep you from being so daydreamy, if that makes sense. Like I used to be really bad about it. I would spend so much time in my own head, like daydreaming about shit, like my head up in the clouds and not really having the proper mental focus for the things that were in front of me. And hematite can really help that because from the spiritual aspect, it helps keep you grounded. And by helping keep you grounded, it then helps you keep your head out of the clouds. It helps you to stay more focused on the things that are in front of you instead of like trying to see way into the future or just like daydreaming about shit. So that's like how different crystals and minerals can affect your mental aspect. Um, Now, physically, um, physically, it all depends upon you. Um, like one of the ones that I almost always go to for like a physical effect is Lepidolite. Now this one actually has like a little bit of basis in science because like Lepidolite is usually heavy with lithium, which is obviously something that is used to calm people down. Um, so from the physical aspect, Lepidolite not only like mentally and emotionally helps keep you calm, but it helps you keep you physically calm. So like the physical symptoms of stress, so like elevated heart rate, higher blood pressure, things like that. It I'm not going to say it like cures them, obviously, but it helps keep them from getting too high in stressful situations. So it does have like a physical effect upon you, and that's obviously if you're wearing it and it has like skin contact. Um, Other things that have like a physical effect are things like optical calcite. Optical calcite, I absolutely love it. I wish I had a big piece of it again. But if you don't know what it is, look it up. It's a truly amazing calcite because it's transparent. And anyway, so optical calcite helps you to actually have like feel like you have more energy. It helps to because it helps focus. So mentally, it helps you focus. Physically, it helps you um, just have more energy. It helps you like get out of bed easier to where you're like more ready to take on the day. So from a physical aspect, it does have an effect on you energetically. Like helps you feel like you have more energy. Um, do the shapes of crystals work differently than the tumbles, towers? No. That actually is going to lead me into the next topic. So thank you for that question, Ada, but I will answer that after I talk about um, the spiritual aspect of minerals and materials. Um, and I can actually tell you why you're more drawn to towers whenever I get to that. So the spiritual aspect of the crystals, that's going to be like your aura. That's going to be like astral travel. That's going to be your chakras, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, most of us know about like the seven main chakras. So, you have your root, you have the sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. And there's usually like, it's kind of color coded, really. Um, so, like, amethyst would work with the crown, uh, something like the indigo gabbro, which is very indigo in color, obviously, works well with the third eye. Something like blue lace agate is going to work with the throat chakra. Um, Unakite, which has green and pink, which are the two colors of the heart chakra, that works really well. So does watermelon tourmaline, because that's both green and pink. Um, and then solar plexus, that's going to be like citrine, like yellow stones usually. Then sacral is going to be like orange stones, so stuff like orange calcite, carnelian, it's like a reddish orange. And then like red jasper will work really well with the root chakra. So those have like an effect on you spiritually speaking. Um, so if you're going to be using something for like astral travel, you're also going to want to have another mineral with it that helps keep your ass grounded, because if you get untethered during astral travel, it can be kind of scary. Um, so for that, you would use something like hematite with like dream amethyst. Um, if you're going to be doing uh, some spiritual fighting, I guess we'll say, that's like whenever you kind of go in somewhere and like clear out the baddies, you'll want something to protect you, like smoky quartz or black tourmaline. So whenever you're doing spiritual work, you should have pieces around you that help facilitate it. So that's it. Those are like the main uses: the emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual. That's ENPS. Now, getting into what Ada asked about, size, size and shape. They do matter to an extent, but in truth, the intent that you put behind it matters more, if that makes sense. So let me explain this with an analogy for size, because size does matter. If you have a light, okay, so let's say you have a match. It obviously produces light, and like the light from that flame radiates outward, but after a while, the light dissipates so much that it's really not useful anymore. So if I'm standing in the middle of a completely dark room, and I light a match, you might be able to see like a few feet, right? But now if I use that match to light a candle, then that's a slightly larger flame, and I can see a little bit further. Then if I use that candle to light, say, a lamp, well, that's going to be an even larger flame, so I'll be able to see even farther. And then if I use that lamp to light a torch, then that's a bigger flame. You see further. Use the torch to light a campfire. Okay, well, now you have a whole lot of light. And if you change that campfire into a bonfire, then it's even larger. And then it's like a massive fucking fire. You get what I'm saying. It's like the bigger the crystal, the further its energy goes, like the further the energy field around it. So something small like that you would put like in a ring or a bracelet or even like a small pendant, that's going to be similar to like the energy field and the light field around a match. Okay, so if you have it like on your hand, then yeah, it's going to kind of cover like this area of your body. So if you have it like on your finger, it might have like a 1 foot radius all the way around it. Maybe like 2 feet wide. And then if you're wearing something a little bit bigger, like this rose quartz, this is obviously much bigger than something that goes on your finger. This, I would say, probably at like 2 to 3 feet radius. So like, I'd say like 5 to 6 feet all the way around. You'd be able to feel the energy from something like that. And then like this bit of quartz, or I call it quartz because to me, all of them, regardless of the color, are quartz because technically they are. This is just purple quartz, but we call it amethyst. So this bit of amethyst is going to have an even larger field, like energy field, than that rose quartz. You just keep going up in size, and the energy field gets bigger and bigger, and then you end up with something like this massive chunk of black tourmaline, and this will protect like my entire house. I just put this like in the center of the house, and everything's fucking covered. So size does matter. Now, shape only matters to an extent. So if you are drawn to towers, Ada, then I'm going to say the reason behind that is that you are drawn mainly to the way they actually bring in energy. So like towers, they work two different ways. We're going to say this is a tower, okay, but it does have a point. So for this, the energy goes two ways. It brings energy in through the point and spreads it out into the base. And conversely, it draws energy up through the base and kind of shoots it out through the top. And this smoky quartz would be doing that in two different frequencies so they don't like interact. Like the positive energy that's going to draw in, there's positive protective energy, it's going to draw it in and spread it out. And like the negative energy that it's protecting you against is going to suck it up and throw it out into the ether. So that's how towers kind of work. Same thing with like pyramids. Um, like faceted stones are a little bit wonky because they are usually like a faceted stone. It's shaped on the top and comes to a point in the bottom. So it's kind of like drawing energy in to a focal point. So it's like the reverse of a tower. And because it has like multiple facets, it's drawing from all over. So yeah, that in that regard, size or shape does matter to an extent. But if it's like tumbles or whatever, tumbles are like palm stones, like pocket stones. That's just mainly to have like that energy field around you. Um, and the shape isn't going to matter so much for that. So shape does matter to an extent, just not for the overall purpose. Because if your intention with a tower is to draw in positive energy, whenever you set it down, and that's like the thought that you have, that's what's going to be doing. That's going to be its main purpose, in whatever way it does it. So there you go. Now, while we're talking about like size, we also need to talk about wearing. This was something that I actually felt was kind of important to touch on because we all wear crystals. Like I don't have any on right now because mine are actually cleansing. But there are certain ones that you do not need to wear all the time. Like you need to wear them like in short bursts. The one that comes to mind immediately is Obsidian. Don't get me wrong, I love Obsidian. I actually have a lovely gold sheen Obsidian statue. His name is Olmec, and he is a house protector. But I don't wear him because he's like 8 inches tall. But if I could, I would probably. But Obsidian has a very fast energy because of the way that it was formed. Obsidian, if you don't know, it's volcanic glass. So when a volcano erupts and like that magma comes out and becomes lava and it's going down the mountainside, it's melting shit along the way, and it's happening almost instantaneously. If it's not happening instantaneously, it's happening within a few moments. So that volcanic glass is formed extremely quickly compared to something like like this amethyst geode, which based upon the size of it, I would say this mother probably took a few hundred years just to grow itself. And if I were to like carbon date it, I'm sure it'd probably come back like it being a few million years old. But those take time, and Obsidian does not. So its energy extremely, extremely, extremely quick. Now it is a protector, and it does like cleanse negative energy pretty quickly from you. But wearing it consistently, like day in, day out, it ends up fucking up your energy flow. It can screw up your aura, it can screw up your chakras, it can screw up just your overall energy, simply because it's 24/7 working extremely quickly, like cleansing out negative energy, which on the surface sounds really good, but it's almost like taking antibiotics. Yeah, it's going to take out the negative shit, but because it's working so quickly, it ends up taking some of the good stuff too. So don't wear Obsidian like religiously. Like don't wear it consistently. It's something like, hey, if you're going to wear it like for the day, that's fine. Like you put it on in the morning, you take it off when you get home, that's fine. But wearing it constantly, that it's just not good. Other ones too that I want to touch on about like wearing, malachite and like malacola, which is what I call like the malachite chrysocolla combination. Do not wear them if they are not polished. Black tourmaline's fine. Like black tourmaline is completely different than obsidian, because black tourmaline, it formed over time. It actually has a very gentle protective energy. So black tourmaline is totally okay. Um, but going back to like the malachite and malacola, if it's raw in any way, don't wear it. Simply because the lovely greens of malachite and chrysocolla, like they form together, so they share a lot of the same chemical properties, um, but they don't need to be worn like if they're rough. So if you happen to get like a rough piece of malachite or malacola, you can like maybe hold it and for a little bit, but it's definitely not one you want to handle a lot because the coloring comes from chromium, which is highly toxic. And over time, because it is like a heavy metal, over time it would slowly kind of get absorbed by your skin and cause problems, like serious problems. So if it's polished, 100% okay, because when it's polished, it has that layer of polish on it that serves as a barrier from like the chemical components. It doesn't stop the energetic components, just the chemical ones. So if it's, like I said, if it's polished, totally okay. But whenever you're wearing crystals, be aware, like if possible, be hyper aware of how they have an immediate and prolonged effect. Um, and also, it's always a good idea to charge them periodically, because as I said earlier in this class, they do pretty much have like a battery, and the more you're wearing it, the more you're using its energy, the more that energy gets used up, the lower it goes. So honestly, I suggest having maybe like a few pieces that you just kind of interchange. If you feel like you need the energy and like the help that they provide, um, I would just have like a few different pieces that you can wear and just change them out. And when you're wearing one of them, the others should be charging and being cleansed. So that way, they're always good to go for you. It's pretty much like having like a backup battery for your phone. Just a good idea sometimes. But yeah, those are the things that I want to talk about, like for the beginner course. I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor. If anybody has any like specific questions about some pieces they might have, I'll answer them hopefully if I can. I'm pretty certain that I will be able to. But while people are possibly thinking of questions, tomorrow we are offering the advanced course. Now, this one, the beginner course, it is open donation. So if you felt like you got some useful information, you can send a donation to paypal.me/soul treats. It's not required, obviously. But for the advanced course, you can sign up for that. I believe we are doing $22 per spot. And that is going to be tomorrow at the same time. And some of the stuff that I cover in the advanced course is using them in your environment. So that's like home, work, and even school. How to use them for grids, not only like personalized grids, but land grids as well. That is definitely a thing. How to use them for chakra work, placement on the body, how to use them for meditation, how to use them for communication with other beings, also using them for scrying, which is like a form of divination. Like one of the biggest cliches would be like the gypsy's crystal ball. That is a type of scrying, if you don't know what that is. So those are some of the things I'm going to cover tomorrow in the advanced course. I'm also going to be in that course when I get to the chakra work. I'm going to be teaching you all about the 5 lost chakras, as well as how to use your hand chakras, because that kind of ties into the chakra work. So yeah, um, that's going to be it for this course. Like I said, if anybody has any questions, if they need answered about some stuff, um, obviously that I can answer, I will. So I'll hang out for a couple of minutes, and if anybody has any questions, I'll gladly answer them if I can. So there you go. Hopefully that was somewhat entertaining and educational. Michelle, if you're there, is there anything you want to add in?
Yeah, that was big. I'm trying to find my I moved some things around from one room to the next. I was trying to find the crystal, the very first crystal that I bought from you. I might have a picture of it. I have so many photos. Here we go. Here's a question for you.
Oh, I love ametrine.
Where?
I'm looking at those. Okay, well, I'll go and tell you that if you wear clear quartz with any other crystal, quartz is an energy whore. It doesn't care if it's negative or positive energy; it's going to amplify the shit out of it. So be wary of what you use that with, what you combine that with. I would not suggest wearing the quartz and opal together. Opal has a very unique energetic signature, and that is definitely one that should probably only be worn by itself. I definitely would never wear opal with something else because it's probably going to cause an energetic clash that won't be fun. But the rest of those actually look like they work pretty well together. The ametrine and jade together, I think you would really enjoy the energy that those two would have for you.
So I found the picture. So just to take it back just a little bit, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I think it was.
Many moons ago.
Yeah, I don't even remember. But I was watching Facebook, and then all of a sudden, Kevin's live pops up, and I was like, "Oh, hey, this guy's doing crystals on Facebook. This is really cool." And he had his board, and you can say, "I want A number 1" or whatever. So I was just watching this, and I was literally drawn to this one crystal. Like my eyes just went vroom, right into it, and I'm like, "I need this one." So I'm typing away. Do you ship to Canada? Da, 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 all these questions. So here's the very first crystal that I purchased from Kevin. And when I got it in my hands, there was a reason why. So tell me, does anybody see the woman in the crystal there?
No, not at all.
Okay. And does anybody see this portal here?
Yep.
People are walking into the portal.
Yep.
And this is why I purchased crystals from Kevin. They are all so unique. Let me see if I can turn it, if I can get it. Let me go a little closer.
I can see it all.
See the portal right here?
Yep.
People are literally walking into that portal. Now, if I can get the light off of this, there are several other people here that are literally going to be walking over to that section.
Yeah.
There.
What's weird is like because of the difference in perspective, you can see that those people are more like making a journey to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool, right?
Uh-huh. Oh, that makes me miss my Mojo Jojo. Like go ahead.
You had this sphere that I've always wanted. What was it? It was I think it was like a huge lab that you had.
Oh yeah.
Do you still have that, or did you sell it? Oh my god, that thing was amazing.
Somebody got that.
I would drool every time you had it on. I was like, oh. But I didn't get it because it would literally cost an arm and a leg to ship it to Canada because how much it weighed.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. If I remember correctly, like that one was almost 9 pounds.
It was beautiful. There was so much within it.
Yeah, it's not as heavy as this one.
So when Kevin's talking about scrying, like, there is
This
a
one?
way to do it. It was huge.
Yeah, like
It was
this.
a lab.
This weighs 18 pounds.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, the Septarian.
In the next course, when Kevin talks about scrying, because I do scry with crystals, but this one, for you guys to actually see this, like I saw that from afar on his live. I was like, I've got to have that one. So to be able to capture it with a camera is pretty amazing.
Yeah. If people don't understand what scrying is, scrying, it's whenever you use a different medium, such as a crystal, obsidian mirrors are another one. People do like water scrying, flame scrying. It's really just a way for you to focus your thoughts on a single point. And once you do that, you kind of open up another form of sight that allows you to peer into the present, past, or future. So,
yeah, it's pretty incredible the different things that you can see within it. Like, really, really incredible.
that's Tiger's Eye, right?
That's a Tiger's Eye. That was my very first crystal that I bought from you. Yeah, it was. I don't know.
I have a weird knack for finding like ridiculously amazing pieces. Like I mentioned Mojo Jojo. I actually found a sphere of Orthoceras fossils that looked like Mojo Jojo from the Powerpuff Girls with a fucking turban and the monkey face and everything. And like, because I happened to find that, and because it was extremely unique, like there will never be another one like that.
Right.
Like it sold for like a lot, like a stupid amount, because I put it up for auction, and people were like, no, I need it. So they were like a bidding war over Mojo Jojo. But then like I remember one time I found this massive, like you'd think that Black Tourmaline was big. I found a quartz point that it was a fire quartz, so it had like red hematite going through it, but it also had a 2-inch rod of Black Tourmaline, and in a different part a 2-inch or 3-inch rod of green tourmaline, like just piercing it. So,
did you ever sell? Oh man, what was the name of that? Was it Groot?
Oh yeah, Groot. Yeah, I sold Groot.
Did you sell it? Oh
yeah, the petrified wood.
Yeah. That was just cool each time that you had it. Like, there's Groot.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Kevin, for being here and doing this beginners. If anybody's interested in the advanced, just send me a message, and the PayPal link, you can see it scrolling across, so you can submit that to the PayPal. Please put your Facebook profile name in the notes so that I can connect with you. You too, Ada, thank you so much. You have a wonderful day as well.
Yes, thanks, Ada.
Just so that I can connect with you so we can get this going. And what else do I need to say? Just have a freaking amazing Saturday.
I'm going to try. We're having like, according to like the weather, it's going to rain for a week. So I might need to build an ark.
Well, it rains, I don't know, 70-80% of the time here in Canada. So it has been raining for a while, and today I think is like one of the days where it's sunny. So usually you'll literally see, I remember coming to Canada just real quick, and I remember my first time, and there were people literally laying on the sidewalk bathing in the sun, and I was like, what are these people doing? Like, this is so weird. But then I learned it's like the minute the sun comes out, people are just like, vroom, they're out of their house.
That's because you came from California, right?
Exactly. Where it's
like sunny 90% of the time.
So it was so bizarre to see this. And I'm like, and then you'd go and there'd be people like on an outdoor patio, and all their chairs would be lined up towards the sun. Like they wouldn't even be at their tables. And I'm like, okay, this is weird.
Yeah.
But I totally get it now.
I mean, I imagine it's probably like that in London too.
Probably. Yeah, for sure.
So,
Oh, you're welcome, Melissa. Thank you for being here, everybody. And once again, have an amazing Saturday. Thank you so much, Kevin. Any last words for you?
no, blessings to each and every one of you. That's
Awesome. Visit Kevin at the rookandraven.co. You can see it scrolling across. So thanks so much, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Thanks.
I love
Bye.
you. Bye.